Howdy folks, welcome back. I'm using my ARC, and today I'm letting you know that it's going to be a while before we have any more Flight Simulator videos because this happened. Today, I finally, for the first time in my life, have a computer that can run Flight Sim the way I want to run it. So what happened is I was doing a video last night. In fact, it was supposed to be a pretty exciting video on my gaming laptop. And between updates happening and adding add-ons and just doing what I was trying to do, I had to turn down settings to get 22 frames per second. And it got to the point where I can't even run clouds anymore on my gaming laptop. And with my bigger screen and a larger audience, flying around at 19, 15, 16 frames per second is not acceptable, especially because the simulator slows down below 20. And I want to start getting into more accurate turning now that I've got my pedals and everything. It's important that I do standard turns and all that, and that all is timed. You need to know what 2 minutes is like. You need to have a timer that runs in real time, and running below 20 frames per second is not acceptable. And I'm not going to fly in rural Minnesota with no weather to get my 25 frames per second. It's ridiculous. I want to fly in the city. I want to actually have buildings. The other day I was flying over Minneapolis and there were no buildings because I had to turn all the buildings down to get 20 frames per second. So I was complaining to my wife about it, and she's like, why don't you just get your computer? And I'm like, you know what? I am 40 years old. I've been flight simming for almost 20 years. I've never been able to take it seriously because I never had the hardware to do it. And by golly, this is my only escape in my super, super busy lifestyle. And I'm going to enjoy it. And I'm going to spend the money on it. So there's a PowerSpec computer in front of us. I wasn't going to do an unboxing, but we're going to do an unboxing. And PowerSpec, if you don't know, is Micro Center's store brand. And I wanted to build my own computer. I haven't built my own computer since the late 90s, and everything's different, everything's easier. But when I priced out a computer with the exact specs of this computer, it was like $600 more than just to buy a pre-made computer. I don't know what the general consensus is about PowerSpec, but they make some amazing machines and they make some crappy machines. They will make some machines with high-end overclocked equipment, but the wrong cooling and they'll overheat. Or they'll make perfectly spec'd, perfectly balanced computers that will run 8 years, 10 years sometimes. In fact, there's one in my family that at the time was a high-end PowerSpec, and it's still running. It's like 10 years old. This one, I read reviews, I'll tell you what it is in a minute, is one of those good ones where people run it out of the box, or they overclock it and they overclock the GPU and they do all these things to it. And even though it's air cooled, not water cooled, liquid cooled, it runs just fine. And this one holds up. So this is the one I got. So this is like the second best one. This is kind of like last year's top of the line. So it has an 8th generation i7. So it has 8700K, not a 9700K whoop-de-doo. It's still turbos at 4.9 gigahertz. And you can overclock it above 5. People have been doing just fine without having to do anything else. And you can add cooling to it if you want to. Comes with 16 gigs of RAM. I got some more RAM. We're going to put some more in there, so we'll have 32. Comes with a 500 gig SSD. So we are going to throw in a 2 terabyte mechanical drive. It has one HDMI for my big 55-inch monitor. Yes, I downgraded to a 55. The 65-inch is making me very sick. So I downgraded to a 55. But it also has 5 additional display ports. So we're going to hook up my 24 inches as a secondary monitor. Okay, the GPU, I know that's all what you want to know. The GPU in this thing, I settled for the 2080. I was going back and forth. I'm like, do I want to spend more on the 2080 Ti? Do I want to get the 1080 Ti? But I settled on the 2080. We used to say in Flight Sim, processor was everything. But with X-Plane and the way they're rewriting it, it's a balance between GPU and processor. So it used to be, get the best processor, skimp on the GPU. That's not true anymore. You need both. Some tasks are handled by the processor, some tasks are handled by the GPU. I mean, that's basic computer knowledge. But so in flight sim, so the only way this could be better is if I got the 9700K or the 99 if I wanted an i9. Although I've heard the i9 on flight sim isn't doing as well as an i7. That's why I didn't even consider an i9. So i7 8700K, not the 9700K, and then it's the 2080, not the 2080 Ti. So those are the two things I kind of back down on. But then it saved me like $1,200 by not getting those things. So, like I said, I love this brand, but you gotta be careful with PowerSpec because, like I said, they'll make some machines that kind of overdo themselves, and then they can't run cool enough, and they overheat, and they have problems. But some, like this one, do just fine. So the model of this one is, what is it? I can't remember even. It's the 432. So it's, well, there you can even pause the video and get all the specs if you want to. But it even has gigabit LAN. So if I have fiber run to the house, which is now available in my neighborhood, it can handle fiber, which is something people don't think about. They're like, oh, I'm going to get fiber. Well, yeah, but you need to be able to handle it all the way into your computer. It's not just plugging into a modem and you get fiber. But we got some accessories for it. Obviously, you already have 2 monitors, so that wasn't the thing. But here's my DisplayPort cable, because like I said, there's only 1 HDMI on the back of this, but like 5 DisplayPorts. So I don't even know what the big whoop-de-doo is about DisplayPort. I should probably educate myself on that. Going to double the RAM. It comes to 16 gigs. We're going to make it 32. So I got exactly matching RAM. So that this is not $219. That is not the right price. It was like $190, whatever. That's kind of funny. That's weird. Anyway, we got exactly matching RAM. And then we're going to add a 2 terabyte drive for storage, because between all my scenery and, right now I could probably get everything onto the 500 gig SSD. But if I start getting into Orbex and all that, and if I start getting into Ortho XP, I'm not going to want to shove it all on a 500 gig drive. I'll fill that up pretty quickly. So we got 2 terabyte, and there's 2 more bays. I could put more drives in there. And then we got the SATA cable. I was told there's already power. And then the most important part, the UPS. This is a 650 VA, so there'll be about, I think I calculated 3-minute max runtime, but the software will shut it down. This is super important. Part of my day job is explaining to business owners all day long that the reason why they're losing crap isn't because their company is bad. It's because they plug things directly into the wall and they get power surges and brownouts all the time. So always buy battery backup. They're dirt cheap. This was like $60 or something. And it's the best $60 you can buy. Get a UPS, please. If you've learned anything, get a UPS, even if you have a laptop, because if you're charging your laptop and you get a power surge, you can blow that out too. Always have a UPS, especially for TVs. And but never put a laser printer on a UPS. I spend the other half of my job telling people, they'll be like, every time I print, I blow a hard drive. Yep. Don't put a laser printer on a battery backup. But anyway, so the reason why I started the video by saying it's going to be a while till I get the next flight sim video is because I have to get everything transferred. I'm talking about terabytes of information transferred from one computer to the other. I have to re-download X-Plane, which takes like 2 days, even with my crazy fast internet, because of the servers. And then I'm going to have to spend hours, if not days, tweaking settings. What I would like to do the trick that FrugoSim does, where he keeps his like anti-aliasing really low, but he records in 4K. And then he downscales to 1080p, so he gets crazy high frame rates. But because he records in 4K, it's like anti-aliasing. It's like an anti-aliasing cheat. I'm going to try something like that. I am going to take this as an opportunity to update my editing software as well. So it's quite possible I can record in 4K and edit and upload in 4K. Takes me 45 minutes to upload a 1080p video, so it would take in theory 90 minutes to upload a 45-minute or an hour-long 4K video. So I might be able to do that now. Who knows? Or I might just do everything in 1080p. I don't know. I've got a 4K monitor. Obviously, I'll be able to handle high frame rates in 4K if I turn down like anti-aliasing or something. So that's something I'm going to do. So the reason why I said it's going to be a long time before there's another video is because I have to get this set up, everything transferred, everything installed, and then I got to spend hours tweaking. I was going to make a video where I tweak my settings, but there's so many videos like that. I don't need to do that. But I'm going to take the time. I'm going to crank everything down, record the frame rates, crank everything up, and then bring everything back down, and then crank things up one slider at a time to see if it takes from the processor or the GPU. I know what it's supposed to do, but what does it really do? And then see where I want to skimp. Like, I have no plans to turn on reflections, even though I'll have a 2080 card. So that'll help. But I really want to have shadows again. I really want to have objects on high, so when I fly over a city, it looks like a city. But I really don't care much about anti-aliasing because I can have the GPU do that outside of the simulator, or I can do 4K and scale it down. So I'm going to spend hours doing that. And then, SkyMax Pro. Now I have the power to actually play with SkyMax Pro and not just do the fastest, lowest settings. So that's hours of work right there, if not, evenings of work. So I think what I'm going to do, like I said, I was just going to end the video there. I just want to tell you what's going on. But I think we're going to unbox this thing. Why not? And I was thinking of putting in the hardware with you on camera as well. But I haven't done hardware in a PC in 15 to 18 years, and I might make a big fool of myself. So maybe I'll record it and use it or not use it, depending on how it goes. But anyway, first thing I need to do is unbox this thing. So I would like to put my phone or my camera on a tripod, but then I can't use my microphone I'm using right now. So anyway, maybe I'll try to do this with one hand. So anyway, I already talked about the extra things you're going to throw in here. So let's just move those out of the way. And I am going to fire this up and everything before I put this stuff in. So I'm going to have it, make sure everything runs. Then I'll take it apart, throw in the RAM and the hard drive. And that way, don't introduce too many variables at once. That way, if I screw something up, then I'll know what it was that I screwed up. So anyway, let's see if I can unbox this thing with one hand here. I don't know if that's really going to work. So so I mentioned before, I was looking at other brands, things like that, but I really couldn't justify spending $3,500 just to get this year's processor or the TI version of the card when the stuff is fine. Of course, I did spend a little bit more because I'm adding that hard drive, but the hard drive was a whopping $59, and the RAM I think was 120 or 130 or something like that. Oh, there's something here to read. What does this say? Okay, it just says the basic. You have a dedicated graphics card. Don't use on. This is, my opinion is, if you don't know this stuff, you should be buying a PC of this caliber. But whatever. So of course we're not going to use that. So there's the one HDMI, and there's 3 display ports and a mini display. So in theory, can you really run 5 monitors at once? I would think so, right? And then there's 2 wireless, which I'm not going to use because wireless in my house maxes out 150 down and 11 up. Wired in my house right now is doing 350 down, 13 up. So even my laptop that I was using, I turned off wireless. I'm using wired. I got wired run through the house, and then I got wired through the walls and stuff. So, okay, no big deal there. So let's see. This must be the keyboard, which I'm going to use my own keyboard because I have a backlit keyboard because I do everything in the dark, both working music, YouTube, everything I do is in the dark. I just assume this is my accessories box. Wow, doing this with one hand is not easy. No, I don't know what this is. Power, of course. Wireless antennas, which I'm not going to use. And they finally have a Windows 10 disk, which is very nice because a lot of times they don't send you a disk, and they're like, to fix this, insert your disk, and you don't get one. So we get one. So that's good. What else is this? Quick start and recovery guide. Oh, it opens up. Okay. All right, it's just basic stuff. These are what your icons mean. Blah 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 blah. Look at surge protector. No, that should say UPS. There we go. Quality UPS. Please use the UPS. Surge protector doesn't mean anything. UPS has to be UPS, and because then it it bridges the gap in power, and it can shut your computer down for you sometimes. And icons, of course. Alrighty, let's see. Ooh, expandable. Yes, it is. Yep. Yep. Again, my day job is to do this stuff. Like, it's kind of funny because I haven't installed a hard drive in a computer in 15, 18 years. However, 5 times a day, I'm explaining to technicians how to add a computer or a hard drive to Windows. So let's see if I can actually do it myself. The pressure is on. The pressure is on. Oh, there's keyboard. It's a tiny one. Not going to use it. Got my own. I will use this mouse, though, because my mouse right now, while I have a high-end gaming mouse, the mouse wheel is wearing out from Minecraft, and I'm kind of sick of it turning off every 10 minutes. If I don't do something for 10 minutes, the mouse turns off to save battery. That's kind of annoying, actually. So, move that out of the way. And here we have the beast. So I'm going to stop the video, pull this out, and restart the video. And here it is. Looks like we have a serial number on top, so I'm just going to cover that. It does say build 3. So that means the third one built? I don't know, but starting at the top, we have 2 USB 3.0, and then headphones and mic. I'll be using everything from the back, though, so there'll probably be nothing out there. And then we've got, looks like we have computer power and reboot buttons on front, which is nice. And then we have a CD burn. I haven't owned an optical drive in like 7 or 8 years, but whatever. Don't need to worry about it. Looks like there's a lot of ventilation in the front, which makes me excited because that's, oh wow, look at those fans. Those are huge fans in there. I'm sure you can't see them, but those are absolutely enormous. Let's see, and then nothing to worry about on, well, it looks like there's ventilation on the bottom too. Okay. The side, just room for probably cable management behind there. Looks like we got some, looks like you can probably add fans to the top. There are not fans in here, but there are mounting holes, and it's indented so something would fit in there, and I'm sure there's power on the motherboard, so you can probably very easily add some fans, I would think. I can't imagine it'd be that difficult. And let's see, another big, PSU fan, whatever. Let's see, I think it's really funny there's PS2 back here, but you never know, right? I deal with that in my day job all the time, antiquated equipment. Alright, then we got regular USB, that'll be for my keyboard and mouse, obviously. And then, coming down here, I'm trying to get the camera to focus. Remember, do not use that. But then we don't use that either. Right? Nope, I can't read what that is. That ATI, don't use that. Then we've got 4 USB 3.0. And I thought there were, yeah, because keyboard and mouse will go up there. Microphone will go back there. My flights and peripherals will go back there. Plus I have my hub if I need it. Gigabit network. And 7.1 audio, which I've never owned anything that fancy. So I'll just use my 2.1 speaker system, but line out is the only one I care about, of course, right now. And there is the 2080 in the back with 4 display ports, a mini display port, and an HDMI. Good grief. Bunch of expansions, although the card probably covers the outside too. And then my 2 wireless network, which I really don't care about, and PSU on the bottom. Oh, so that'd be the PSU fan down there. There should just be extra fan. So I have a feeling this thing is probably going to be kind of loud, but not worry about it. But I'll run CPU-Z, and if it's not cool enough, I will just add fans to the top probably. All right, my favorite part, taking off the manufacturing protection of the plastic. There we go. You can see the reflection of myself and all my other stuff. So let's see if I can turn this to eliminate some reflection. Nope, we have to deal with it. Alrighty, let me open this thing up and let's have a peek inside. Okay, so taking out these screws, and this doesn't feel like the highest quality case, but it really doesn't matter. It is just gonna sit. It's just gonna sit on my side of my desk. I really don't care. It's only 650 watts, which really surprises me that it only takes 650 to run all this. But I talked to the guy, and adding RAM and a hard drive isn't going to affect it. So I don't know. Look at that. I have not seen a full-size graphics card since the Voodoo 2 was current. You know what I might do? I might just add my RAM. Where does it go? Yeah, right there. Yeah, because it alternates. Oh, that could pick it up. I might just add my RAM and hard drive now. I really wanted to boot it up, but I probably could just add everything right now. Where would just go in here, right? Just I don't know. I have to think about this. I haven't been in a modern case in a really long time. Well, yeah, there's plenty of expansion there. There's some expansion over there. This cooler is, oh, look at that heatsink. Good grief. Man, I remember the Pentium 3, Pentium 4 days where you have a little teeny tiny cooler, little tiny heatsink. That's insane. But yeah, I can definitely add fans on top if I have to. I don't think I'll need to though, but so yeah, I think I'll throw in the RAM, again as every other channel. Wow, that was a royal pain in the butt. Getting the second one in here was super easy. But this one, I don't know if you can really see that, but it touches this cooler. It touches the plastic housing of the fan, and it wasn't in there perfectly, so I had to like just barely turn it, rotate it a little bit counterclockwise to get this end of the RAM in. And it was very nerve-wracking because I was afraid, because if you have a pasted cooler, you can't be moving this thing around. It's pasted on there. Then if you get any bubbles in that paste, you're in big trouble. But I looked down here, and it wasn't. I can't really see it on here, but it wasn't. I mean, it's not touching the processor. It was just the way it was sitting on top of this brace in here. It wasn't perfectly perpendicular to the case, so I had to turn it a little bit. But I'll definitely be watching my temperatures for a while, make sure I didn't screw up that paste. But holy good grief, that was hard to get that one in there. Oh, I wouldn't want to do that regularly. But anyway, so these are 4 sticks of 8. So it should report 32 gigs of RAM. I am going to wait on the hard drive till I boot it up the first time. Then I'll take it apart again. All right, I decided to just do the hard drive install anyway. So here's the front, looking at it upside down. Yes, obviously the hard drive goes in here, and that clip, clips into what would be a screw hole there. I thought perhaps it would go up here with rail kit, but it doesn't. So it's going in here as it should be. It's clipped in nice and tight. Pull off the other end of the computer. My SATA cable is going to plug in here, of course. I can't do this with one hand, but we should hear click. There you go. Nice tight click. It's locked in place. The power then looks like we have a bunch of stuff back here. We got a whole bunch of Molex. Whole bunch of like optical drive. I don't know what the heck is going on back here, so I have to take off this cable tie and then decide what power we're going to use, and then we'll cut back. Alright, so it looks like on one feed we've got 3 Molex and like a 4-pin, which I honestly don't know. What would that be for, another video card or something? I should know, but like I said, it's been a long time. So this Molex, we'll tie that back up. And over here we have a whole bunch of SATA power, at least 3 of them, which would make sense because then you would go 1, 2, 3 because they got 3 bays right here. So let's plug in our SATA power, and then I'll find wherever the SATA ports are on the motherboard after I button up this side. So I'm going to plug in my SATA power, re-secure the cables with plastic, not metal, twisty tie, plastic. And then I'll get the cover back on, and then we'll find out where this thing plugs in on the motherboard. Alright, so our SATA cable is in there nice and tight, and I looked on the motherboard on the other side and decided routing it down here will be the best place to do it. There's the zoom out. SATA power is plugged in. I left the other 2 on the cable down here so that if I do add more drives, which being a flight sim computer I'll probably need to add more drives, they're ready to go, so I will not have to break this again unless I need the Molex. So all the SATA is free, all the SATA power has been freed up. The Molex power, however, is tied up because I don't know when I would use that. And I use a plastic twisty tie, not metal. Gotta be careful about details like that. But anyway, the big thing I want to show you is I left the other 2 SATA power there for the other 2 expansion bays, so they're ready to go. So I'm going to get this cover back on without pinching any cables and being very careful about that. And then I'll flip it around and I'll show you where the SATA plugs in on the other side. All right, so the back is on, as you, if you can see here. I don't know if you're going to see that dark, but because of the cutout on the back, nothing is being pinched. Everything moves freely. The SATA cable moves freely, which means it's not being pinched. The SATA power moves freely, so it's not being pinched. And here are the 4 SATAs, because you got 3 expansion bays. 1, 2, 3. 3 on the power, and then 3 on the motherboard. So they're using SATA 4. We might as well plug this into SATA 3. Or should I plug into SATA 2? No, let's plug into SATA 3. I'm not. Oh, am I in the video? I am not in the movie. Can't really see anyway. Oh my gosh. Whatever. I'm just going to plug this in. I am not a computer person. You all know more about this stuff than I do. But I thought I might as well share it with you. There you go. Here's the nice click. Nothing is pinched. Nothing is twisted. Everything moves freely. There we go. So an OEM computer, however, I added 16 gigs of RAM and a 2 terabyte mechanical drive. And I'm just going to put this back together and fire it up. And the next video you see from me will be a flight sim video on a flight sim capable PC. I must be dreaming. I'll catch you next time.